the easiest way I can think about it is, given the seismic shift we're seeing technologically, I like a formula approach. I always think it's easy to remember. I'm helping my daughter who's learning Spanish at home, so adios is goodbye, and goodbye to the past. So adios is A for access, making sure that every public servant in every part of every government has an agentic front door to access services so that they can be more powerful. Discovery, every device. It used to be that we could learn where the smartphones were and the laptops were, but now we have to consider every connected device as an asset in the administration of public services. Identity is I, not just the people, but the AI agents. One AI agent working for somebody has different permissions than a different AI agent. Orchestration, how do you move all the pieces together in harmony to deliver great public services? And then ultimately security at the end of that formula, because if we lose public trust, we will not be able to maximize the potential of technology. So that's my aided by high school Spanish approach to thinking about an operating model.
Your Excellency, the UAE has spent years deliberately building national digital enablers, from connectivity to digital identity and interoperability frameworks and trusted exchange and so on. Looking ahead, how do you see these enablers evolving in the next phase, from supporting digital services to actively orchestrating, there's that word again, simple, proactive and agentic government experiences across the entirety of the public sector?
Well, thank you, Brad, and very honored to be with you, with my colleagues in this panel discussion. And back to your question, you really reminded me of a very specific moment with when His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister, he announced the Smart Government Initiative. And we were, shortly after that, we've been entrusted to work and lead this strategic move of the government. At that time, the question was like this, I mean, how we can redesign how government works. It wasn't about building a certain technologies. No one asked us to build a digital identity or come up with a interoperable data exchange layers among government agencies. But the leadership question was like this: what foundations that has to be there at a national scale for the government to operate as a digital by default? So from that perspective, we started working and thinking on what government agencies need, how we can help government agencies with these digital enablers, as you mentioned. So we came up with a concept of GovTech Stack. It's a stack starting from ground up all the way to applications to help government agencies to leverage and reuse these components while they are focusing on their core business, because they are the one who knows their business more than us. We're the one who provide them all the necessary IT infrastructures, including the sovereign clouds, the platform as a service, such as authentication, authorization, and signature. As you know, everyone is living in UAE, they know UAE Pass. UAE Pass is one of the digital enablers that we are proud of. It's been used by almost every citizen in the UAE. We've reached more than 12 million users who are actively using the UAE Pass on a daily basis. We've reached more than 800 million authentication transactions accumulated over these years. We have a digital signing capability which allows citizens to sign document electronically and digitally, and it's being vetted and backed by the law. So all of these digital enablers allows us to have the foundation and building the foundation for things to come in the future. And back to your question, what's the next? What's the future? So we have the sovereign cloud, we have the digital identity, we have the orchestration layer, which allows government agencies to exchange data and come up with bundled services. Is this enough? No. I think, and we believe that we should move from digital government to digital nation by extending our digital offering even to the public sectors. And this is what happened. many of the private sector, including bank, telcos, retail shop, they are actually leveraging these digital enablers, which we thought that it should be only restricted to the government agencies. But for the digital economy to thrive, we should allow even the private sector to benefit from this one. Now, many of the transactions are actually passing through UAPass is actually from the private sectors. And this also helps them to make their customer experience the best in the world by identifying them properly and providing them the service at their touch point.
Indeed, and in so many ways, the UAE prides itself on leading and leapfrogging and adopting new technologies. And as a user of many of these services, I can certainly echo those sentiments. So Tareq, we met just before we came on stage, and we were talking about some of the change and transformation that's happening in the region. But coming at this from a payments perspective, what does it take to embed payments as a standard and visible layer in every journey, rather than, as it's been seen before, that standalone finance process that's sort of tacked on at the end?
Yeah, I was reflecting on this, and I'm quite older than many people in the room, but I was remembering when I was paying for government services a few years back, and it's very painful, whether you're in the UK or Philippines or whichever part of the world. You generally have to go and visit an office and have the documents to reconcile, and then hopefully the payment will be settled and your payment's clear. I have to really congratulate the UAE government on the leapfrog that's been made in the last few years in doing that. And we work, Visa operates in over 200 countries, and we work with governments around the world to play a key role in trying to accelerate the simplification of that process so that it's really embedded in the payments experience. And the key elements of doing that is firstly just making it interoperable. So no matter whether you're paying with a Visa card or with a domestic card or whatever, but everything can connect well. The APIs work really well together. So we really invest a lot of time to make sure that payment experience is a good one, whether you're a consumer or a government department. The second part is security. And that's really on everyone's mind, that when you make a payment, especially if you're handing over your card, that you know that that's going to be a secure transaction. You're not going to get compromised in the event of a data breach. And tokenization has come a long way to kind of make sure that that happens these days. I'd say the third part really is the partnership that we have with governments around the world. That's absolutely critical. And this is a fast-moving space at the moment. We see some governments around the world putting in place a lot of regulation around payments that have unintended consequences that can suffocate the ability for it to be embedded. They have good reasons why they put the regulation, but the unintended consequences can mean that innovation stops. And then the final key element of this is really, and this is really where we work closely together with our bank partners or fintechs, is really just getting to work and finding problem statements and saying, okay, where is the friction in this experience? How can we simplify it? How can we really embed the payment so the person doesn't even need to think about what they're going to use to pay? It just happens seamlessly with the click.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for that. And so, Nick, I want to come back to you, and we're gonna be a little bit quick as we go down the line here. It feels like 5 minutes ago we were talking about Gen AI, and now, of course, the focus is on agentic AI. And so as you think about the agentic capabilities that are entering service delivery, from your perspective, what is the safest first use case that governments should contemplate?
I think service management is the easiest way. If you understand fundamentally the stakeholder who's identifying an issue, and you understand the process requirements of resolving that issue, and you can close that issue once it has been fully remediated, that is a process with every interval in that process that can be performed by an AI agent safely, securely, with a well-documented, orchestrated process that already exists. I think that's an easy way to start and an easy way to show meaningful outcomes.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, Your Excellency, as government entities now move from isolated AI pilots to AI adoption at scale, how do you see the role of your organization evolving?
AI is a very hot topic nowadays, if I agree with me. But I believe that Tetra started dealing with AI before the large language model era. And I remember that when we talked about providing a GPU as a service to the government agencies, although the demand was very limited, we thought that this is an anticipation, it's a foresight, and this will become something big. And we're anticipating that this eventually would become a national digital capability rather than individual entities investing by themselves. So back in 2021, we started offering a couple of GPU services to one of our clients as a government agencies, and we wanted to also test the water, how this works. They were talking about training some of their small models, but as the generative AI emerged, we thought that our anticipation was real, and we started responding to the government agencies' surge in requirements for the GPUs by offering them what they need. Of course, at that time, the challenge was with the supply chain. There was over demand on acquiring the GPUs worldwide, but thanks to our partners who managed to get and secure as much as we can from GPUs. I believe that we went through an era where agencies, they were trying to experiment their AI use cases, and such experimentation is very healthy. It's a learning curve for everyone, and we are also learning with them. And but I think we reach a level where also the AI and the generative AI is maturing as we go, and rapidly maturing. So we end up with having some sort of a consolidation for sure when it comes to AI, and coming up with abstract layers rather than providing them a raw GPU. We can offer them an inference layer where they can offload themselves from the complexity of dealing with the raw hardware rather than immediately jumping into getting the benefit of the inference as a layer to serve their use cases.
Very good, thank you, thank you. Tareq, I want to come to you. Central and Eastern Europe, Middle East and Africa, pretty diverse geography that you cover in your role. And so when you think about the regulatory and infrastructure landscape, what are the core elements of scalable digital payments operating models that government should standardize region-wide versus what should remain local and tailored to suit local market realities?
I think the reality, the philosophy that we take is that payments are very local, and you really have to understand the local dynamics, what's going to facilitate commerce, etc., because each market does have different nuances. So just having that philosophy as our principle, we also recognize the power of the network, especially when it comes to risk. And a lot of, I think about 50% of all transactions right now are on e-commerce, for example, versus face-to-face. So having the power of data that can identify, for example, if an attack is happening by bad actors on the cyber network on Qatar, for example, or one of the neighboring countries, we're able to pick that up very quickly and then also enact and activate greater defenses in the ecosystem, for example, in the UAE. So I think recognizing the power of network, the power of data, and making that accessible in a scalable manner, but also recognizing the importance of being very local in thinking about enabling great payments experiences. That's kind of the balance you have to have.
Very good. Well, listen, gentlemen, I am having far too much fun. I'd love to keep talking, but we're getting whisked off stage. I want to thank you for providing your perspectives in terms of the next operating model from the perspective of workflow, government operations and regulations, and of course payment. Please join me in thanking our panelists, and we'll wish everybody well today. Thank you.
Thank you.